I was talking that whole time. I need y'all to know that I was talking that whole time. I greeted you. I made a little jokey joke, everything on mute. So yeah, but how y'all doing? How are you doing on this fine Saturday? Just giving it a minute or two for people to come in. This is not, hey Chrissy, this is not any kind of hard hitting material here. I'm literally just let you guys in on some mess I saw on TikTok, and really that's it. I just decided to go ahead and do it because my process is usually taking a week at the least to kind of try to extract some kind of important message out of stuff. But this isn't really, I mean, there's stuff there to talk about. I'll probably be able to say some useful things, but in generally I was like, if I don't just talk about this stuff, I'm gonna forget about it because it's not that deep, right? So yeah, that's why I just figured I'd do a little impromptu live. Nothing major. What y'all doing today? Did y'all have any plans? You just chilling, cooling it? Um, I went out yesterday and did a bunch of things that I have been procrastinating doing for months. For months. Mind you, because I want to see Beyonce in my mind. I was going to do this big old arts and crafts project on my outfit. It's not happening. Going to get me the way it came. Right. And that's okay. That's fine. Like, I'm just there to enjoy. Um, but I had to pick up some medicine, and I got some little knickknacks and paddywhacks for my baby girl. She's 11, so she was breaking out a couple months ago on her face, with some little bumps, little acne. I was like, oh, she's growing up. Just a little changes in her little body and everything. But I kept saying I wanted to get her the cute little pimple patches and stuff. So I went and got her some pimple patches, and I saw some little press on nails, age appropriate press on fingernails for her. So I got her those. Then I went down to the Goodwill. I did a TikTok too. They had fur coats in the Goodwill, child. Um, Went down to Goodwill to try to see if I could find some material and stuff I wanted to use for my outfit, but I didn't. It stressed me out too. I realized like I must be getting older because I didn't used to mind like picking through certain stores and stuff to find little treasures, but I went and I was just overwhelmed. Mind you, just coming out the house, I could see one or two people walking up the street, and I just be like, "Oh, it's too many people out here." Like I really do not like going out. I don't like coming outside. I don't like having people around. As social as I am, as I may seem in a general sense, I'd rather just stay in my space, in my house. But yeah, so then from there, oh, I had some good news, unexpected news. So I have a account with a credit union, and I thought the account had closed. But then like last month I found out the account was still open, but I like owed them around $27 or so. So I said, well, let me go down there and get that right so that I can make sure that I keep that account with that credit union, because you know with credit unions you gotta be, somebody gotta let you in or whatever. So I was like, as long as I still have this resource, let me just maintain it. But when I went down there, it turns out I didn't even owe them that whole money because I had got reimbursed $22. So that was pretty cool. I was like, oh, that's a blessing. And then from there, I went to Vision Works to get my fresh prescription because I still be squinting a little bit in my glasses sometimes. And I've had these for a good amount of years. Like it's well past time for me to get a fresh prescription. So I went to Vision Works to get my prescription so I could start ordering me new pairs of glasses. And I ate, and then I went over to TJ Maxx, and I found so many things that I use like on a regular basis at major discounts. For instance, I'll be using, I think the brand is called Curls. It's a Blueberry Bliss leave-in conditioner, and it's usually anywhere from like $10 to $14. I got it for $7. I got some Philosophy body wash, the big bottle, the 32-ounce bottle. That stuff is normally anywhere from like $50 to like $70. Got it for 16. I got me some Miss Jessie's curly pudding. The 16-ounce jars are usually like 30 something dollars. The tubes they had. They were 8.5 ounces each, and I got them for $10.99 each. So I was shopping my ass off. And then I just went and got some laundry detergent or whatever from the Walmart. I know we're not going to Walmart. I swear to you, I have not been to Walmart since probably before November, to be honest. So that literally, but I needed some laundry detergent, and that laundry detergent is going to last me because I got the big thing. So yeah, but I felt very productive. And only thing is, I lost my favorite umbrella. I had it, and then I went to go to the bathroom in Walmart, and I realized I didn't have it, and God only knows where I dropped it. So I was so sad. I did kind of go back and try to see if I could find it, but I didn't see it. But all's well that ends well, because I feel like it's like a sisterhood of the traveling umbrella type thing. Because I actually found that umbrella on that route. Actually, I found that umbrella months and months and months ago, and so now, it cost me nothing. Maybe somebody else needed it more. You're not late, Themis. I literally just started. I'm not talking about anything important. But yeah, so that is what's going on with me. So yeah, I was saying, I this is just like an impromptu live. Ain't nothing special going on, nothing special about it. Ooh, give me 1 second. Okay, sorry, I had to do something real quick. Um, Nothing special about it. I just saw some stuff on TikTok, and I wanted to bring it to you guys because I thought it was interesting. So don't expect any kind of major life lessons or anything like that. We just kind of looking at stuff. It has to do with like baby mama type stuff. It is unfortunate though, because the main person in the thumbnail, uh, she got married. Like, it was a really nice. You'll see the whole situation. It was so cute a couple years ago. I remember it when she got engaged. And so now, what was Kilo saying? We'll see with the 10 part story time is one of those deals. So yeah. But I'm gonna go ahead and hit this intro right here, and then we can get started. This is a manga.
No problem. You in charge of the girls, right? I am in charge of the girls. Are you in charge of the girls? I am in charge of girls.
Okay, so I think I want to start with Amina Butterfly, because that saga was just like, to this day, I feel like it traumatized me so much just for being on television, that it's one of the reasons I felt like a platform like this was necessary, because wowzers, right? But recently, she disclosed publicly that she was experiencing homelessness here in the United States. So she went home to Germany to her family to she went home to her family to just kind of get her bearings or whatever. And so hold on, I'm trying to make sure I can stop the TikTok. Why does it stop and then it'll start right back? Um, so she's letting us know, what the dealio is. And we can go ahead and watch a couple of these TikToks. And then I always have so many notifications.
Losing our home in LA. Me and my kids moved out of place, our stuff in storage, or most of it in the trash, but some of it in the storage, and we don't have a home, y'all. But guess what? Thank God for family, because we're in Germany with my family, and we're gonna be here till I figure it out, because I will, as I always do. But the last couple of years have been so rough, working my butt off, not making enough money, end up losing my place, and now we're staying with family until I know what I can figure out what's next. And don't ask me what that is, because everybody's like, so what's the plan? I have no idea. I needed to freaking clear my head so I can come up with a plan. And all I know is we're happy, we're healthy, we're powerful, we're capable, and there's so much opportunity out there. And sometimes losing something is only taking you to the next place that you're meant to be. So see what life has got in store for us. No, but seriously, I threw my whole life in the trash. 80% of what we own, and I didn't own anything valuable anyway to begin with, but it feels very good to not have much, but have what's important, which is love. Never been materialistic anyway, and I only want what's valuable to me. Stay tuned for what's next.
So, Miss Ma'am is homeless right now. So she went home, which, I have no notes on that. I definitely have experienced that. And I currently still live with family because it's crazy out here. Like, it wasn't that I was in position, or I thought I was in position at one point to try to move out. And I actually wound up, this is the craziest part about it. So when I called myself looking for a place to like rent, come to find out I wasn't able to qualify to rent a place, but I was able to qualify to purchase a home at that time, which was crazy. It just so happened that I had gotten approved, and I didn't know, as part of the home buying process, I didn't know you had to get approved. Like, you only had a certain amount of time before that approval, of your credit, I mean, of that approval didn't qualify anymore. And so what happened was, it literally was like a $5 that I owed Target, to the point where I just wasn't aware of it. It affected my credit, just that one thing. So I was under contract for a house. Like, I was signing paperwork and everything to get the house. But that credit thing dinged me. And so then I could not get approved. And no, so then I lost that house. But that was okay, because like not too long after that, like within the next 6 to 8 months after that, I wound up not working anyway. So it just all kind of worked out in the end. I guess you could call that working out. I don't know. But my point is, like, I have been there when it's like, okay, I'm facing homelessness, or I'm losing my apartment, or I'm not doing well financially for whatever reason, and you have to make those adjustments and those changes. But so she disclosed that information. And then, of course, the internet did what it does. And Demons, please. And then the internet did what it does. Hey, run and tell TT. I mean, oh, TT, you're here on time. I know you be catching me on the replays. You be holding it down in the comments too of the replays. But yeah, so she disclosed that information. Naturally, the response from the peanut gallery was kind of like, where's your baby daddy? Like, what's going on? Why would he have you and your children homeless? So then she came back and was like responding to those things.
Because this is the number one comment I've been getting since yesterday, since I announced that I moved to Germany for a moment to figure out where we're going to live, because we don't have our home anymore. Everyone's like, where we at? So, yes, we all know he hasn't always been the best. But I have to point out that he's been there for us. He's been holding us down in the past, I want to say almost 2 years, year and a half. is when I started struggling crazy, not able to cover my overhead, my bills, my rent. And he stepped up and he was there and he paid our rent a lot of the time. So, oops, my light went out. I just hate seeing the bashing him right now because this wasn't my intention to put up something to bash him at all. He has nothing to do with this. I mean, he does in a way. He's my kid's father, but at the same time, he's not responsible for me. I'm my own grown adult, and I'm very thankful for him for holding us down. I would have been in this situation a year ago had it not been for him being there and literally holding us down and paying the rent. So, shout out to Peter. One thing about this whole situation, I don't want to get misconstrued. I'm so good with who I am, who I've become, how hard I work. Everything in my life is great. I take care of myself. I'm mentally and physically in the best shape I've ever been. I just don't got no money. And it's only money, you know? I always say to myself, it could be worse. It could be so much worse. It's only money. Money comes and goes. I ain't got it right now. And I ain't had it in the past couple of years, but I believe in myself. It doesn't take away any of my greatness. And so there's so much that I can do and will do. So see ya soon. And no, he did not make me post this. I haven't even spoken to him at all. But he's in this now, thanks to y'all. So this is the truth.
So the reason it's still more, it's like two more clips or whatever. But the reason that's important, put a pin in that, right? Because she is being so like mindful of um how she is talking about this, talking about him. And I'm not saying she shouldn't. Hold up, damn, why is he so loud? Hold on, because I don't know why that's so loud. When you bring them up, they just automatically start. What up, Peter Guns? I don't want to hear you. Oh God, that was just loud for no reason. So, what I was saying was she's being so mindful, so demure about how she's talking about the situation, how she's talking about him, which she should, like they cool or whatever. He's stepping up and being a friend and all of that and a baby father. I don't really feel like so thanks to us. I don't really feel like getting into the weeds about I'll say this much best case scenario, if you're not going to be with a father of your kids, whatever, if you can't for whatever reason, the relationship doesn't work out. I will hope that y'all could be friends. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not someone who's just generally like, oh, go out and take these men's sperm and this and that and the other. Like if you were in a situation in a mindset when you got pregnant that you wanted to be with this person and it doesn't work out for whatever reason, my hope is that y'all could be amicable and even friendly. That's not something I was ever able to do with my children's father, but that's not something that I begrudge of other people. You know what I mean? So to me, that's the next best case scenario. So I'm not upset with her for wanting to have that kind of mindset, wanting to have that kind of rapport, and or seemingly being able to benefit from that kind of rapport, right? But I just want you, to keep it in mind that how she seems to be intentionally trying to talk about him and honor him and their friendship and whatever relationship they seem to have. This next clip is I don't know if this was before or after her announcing her homelessness. It probably was before, but I will say there is some stuff about her amidst all the nice things I just said, which I truly believe doesn't change anything. I do believe though there's a part of her that is in La La Land when it comes to him, because even now, like I'm gonna show you this next clip, and this is something recent. still with these conversations, still with this hee hee ha ha ha, still letting him off the hook with the oh I love two people and I don't know what to do or whatever. Because I should have got that clip, but I don't know if there was going to be a copyright that clip of when they were on the show and they were in the studio and both her and Tyra, the other baby mom, had the same bang and bun combo, and she was in there acting like she was so shocked and surprised and hurt that when Tyra told her that her and Peter were still sleeping together. So it's just like, to me, this next clip is an indication that, she hasn't changed or grown in that sense. I don't think. Y'all can't hear it? Give me a second to try to figure out, because it looks like over here you should be able to hear it, but let me see. Did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear it when I played that time? Let me know. Could y'all hear it? I'm gonna play it again and see if y'all can hear it. All right, I'm gonna just close that out and then I'll open it up again and we will see.
I didn't copyright my tutorial yet. Okay.
So I'm gonna ask you something.
Okay.
You gotta answer. I don't know that you know the answer, and I'm also not saying that you should know the answer, but I just want you to answer it because it's gonna be entertaining.
Let's go.
And please don't give like a one word. Give like a thorough answer as much as you can.
Okay.
So, one guy is in love with two women. The one he's totally lying to about everything, and the other one he's completely honest about everything. Which one of the two does he love?
Oh, he loved both of them.
Oh, I knew you were gonna say that.
Because he don't want to lose.
Why then the different treatment?
He's lying to one. He got lied to somebody.
Why?
He don't want to lose either one of them. So somebody got to be lied to and somebody got to tell the truth. It's an art to it. See, if I give away my art, then I didn't copyright my tutorial yet. But you know, once I copyright my shit, I'll give everybody.
But there's only one way to be when you love someone.
Well, that's
Which
true.
way is it?
That's where I am now. Once I found my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, once I touched the hem of his garment, I'm a changed man. But that's how I used to be. But when I used to be like that, you saying?
But I'm not. I didn't want you to answer.
You saying the way I used to be?
What you would
the
be.
old me? No. Oh, the old somebody else. See, that could go both ways. Because sometimes if she's the side chick and you lying and you telling her everything. Look, I got a wife at home, but I don't love her no more. It's not like that. That's, you know, it's the side chick is always the new chick is always the fun one. So but you also don't want to lose your home. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. It's fucked up, but it's the hard truth.
We got the
but
answer.
It's you love them both. You lie to one because you got to make her think the main one ain't the same no more.
Oh wow. Okay.
You sharing all this. I'm sharing all my deep dark secrets with you because I love you. That's the old me.
So I fucking hate him, like, to the depths of my soul. And the reason that I wanted to show that one was because, like, I'm sorry, I'm stunned into silence again. But it's like everything that she was saying, like, about her situation and how, oh, they're cool and he took care of me and this and that and the other. In and of itself, without this last clip, it's like, okay, that's nice, that's mature, that's sweet, good for you that y'all have that type of relationship. Y'all can rely on each other. Exactly, Alicia, that y'all can rely on each other, you know, in a vacuum co-parenting situation, right? But when I see that clip, and like I said, that clip, it ain't that much longer. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like that clip is so long ago. That's how you feel. And that shows that you're still fishing for some kind of validation from him and a differentiation between you and the other person. Like, even the way she was asking, first of all, not even that, let's start at the beginning. Still asking that question. We saw the whole scenario play out. We saw your confusion and everything in trying to navigate how he was telling you one thing and telling her something else and this and that and the other. We saw him saying it was so hard for him. He didn't know how because he loved you both and it was so difficult and you can't expect a man to just stop loving someone he's been loving for we saw him blowing smoke up both of y'all asses. But you more so than anybody else, I felt like was the most, because I feel like Tyra, and not to try to excuse Tyra from her BS in this, but I feel like a lot of what Tyra was going through was spite and just like, hey, you're not going to just leave me high and dry and run off into the sunset and give somebody else something that I thought I was working towards with you for over a decade, right? But you were just determined to believe the fact that he, quote unquote, married you made you more important to him in some kind of way. And so even you asking that question in that way and after all this time shows that you still want to believe in some kind of fairy tale that differentiates you from her, instead of just believing that he's just a selfish asshole, irresponsible with his seed, you know what I mean, and just let it be what it is. And those are the types of things that I discuss much more kindly, much more demurely in my book, Oh Hell Yes. In my book, Level Up the Single Mother's Guide to Reclaim Her Dignity. Yeah, that's definitely, and like I said, when I tell you that she was one of the inspirations, well, that whole situation was one of the inspirations, the early seedlings of the idea to want to have these type of conversations and talk about it in this way and help people to like navigate through this stuff. It was her and him, and Tyra's love triangle was kind of the one of the catalysts for that. So I just thought that was interesting. But also going back to like I said, him, the way she's talking about him, and oh wait, this ain't a link. Let me see something. The way she was talking about him and the way she's still like trying to maintain um that that story, that narrative of their love being so unique and so special and yada 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 yada. Um this is I'm gonna show you a clip of Peter not talking to her, talking to somebody else, talking to what's his man name? Godfrey about her recent homelessness. Oh wait a minute. I'm trying to show it.
Done that because two reasons. That's like a vacation. You get to go sit down for 2 months and chill, and then come back, and I still got the same. So let's just pay the shit now and stay. The other reason is Trump may not let you back in this motherfucker, Mina. You know, and you and I know why. So now I will have to fly in to LAX in the event that they don't let you in to get my kids, because I'm not gonna, I wouldn't want that to happen. Right. So Amina says to me, Peter, if they don't let me back in, it's just meant for me to stay in Germany. I literally had to sign for my kids to go. I wasn't comfortable with it. Not at this date and time with what's going on with ICE and all this crazy shit. Hence the reason why we married. Anyway, if I'm being honest with you on some brother shit, the last thing I would ever do is lie to you. I would never lie or cap. You never lie. You never lie to me. I love my kids, bro. My kids can never be homeless. Real shit. I have an apartment in Dallas. I said, Amina, just go stay in Dallas. Live there. What am I going to do in Dallas? Live rent free? Swim? Go at amenities, chill for a little bit, give me a breather because I can't pay rent every multiple places. Get the place up in Dallas. I send Amina thousands every month. Whatever she asks, she will get on here and tell you the truth. It's just that she wasn't able to hold her side of shit up. She felt like she, like, damn, this is just, I'm stressed. I need to go. So I let her go. But I had no idea that she was going to leave the world thinking that she was homeless. I bought a round trip ticket. They come back on the 23rd of August. Right. I got the Airbnb in LA. I was going to pay that up for a couple of months. Why I tell the world, and it's just like, I feel so fucked up. I feel a little betrayed in a way because she knows I would never, that could never be. Yeah.
So I wanted to point that out because to me it felt like he was like kind of throwing her under the bus, the way he was talking about her, just making her seem like completely irresponsible and talk about some, oh, that seemed like you just want to go on a vacation and this and that and the other. But he also spoke in there. The real truth was that he didn't want to be inconvenienced. And I'm not necessarily mad at that. Like, he wanted to be able to have access to his children. He didn't want to have to fly, internationally to see his children and this and that and the other. And that's fair enough for me. That's par for the course. But I just wanted to point out the level of care and like consideration that she was showing in terms of like his character and her jumping up to defend him and his character when people were coming at her. Whereas I feel like he is putting it out there for her to be judged and vilified. But this much I will say about her in terms of, and this is one of the things where I talk about like having conversations with women about the weird stuff that women do sometimes. Part of her, the way she told the story, what am I trying to say? How am I trying to say this? That whole thing with her like wanting to have a particular narrative around why he chose her as opposed to why he chose Tara or why he was dealing with Tara or whatever like that. A part of that leads to this type of thing where she's telling this story in this way where he would feel like, oh, she's making me look bad. Now, mind you, did she come up and say, oh, yeah, he didn't? The whole time, the whole way through, she's like, oh, no, he helps. He pays his part, this and that and the other, blah, 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 blah. But remember, when Cardi B was calling all of them out about it, and she was like, oh, no, he pays his part of the rent. That's all part of that identity in her mind of, oh, no, he really cares about me. It's something substantial about me because, look, he pays, he took care of me. He takes care of me. You know what I mean? I don't really feel like that's about him as much as it's about this belief that she is special to him in a particular type of way that he would do that. You get what I'm saying? So that's why I thought that was something interesting to like look at and highlight. That's the last clip I have on that. But yeah, to just see how these narratives we have with each other. In my book, I call it the bond. And the bond is when you just believe that you and your baby father just have this unique, strong bond that's different from any other bond he may currently even have with other women, that you just cannot ever let it go or forsake it, and you have to treat him special and give him special treatment and give him the benefit of the doubt and this and that and the other, and of course have sex with him because y'all are just bonded in just such a significant way. And that's the same type of stuff. That's why I hate him so much, because that was the same type of stuff that he would say and do whenever either one of the women was trying to pull away from him and just going like, look, this is hurting me, I am not happy, I deserve better, I'm going to be the grown up here and just back away from you, even if you're not trying to back away from me. And he would always like come back and try to reinforce this idea of these special bonds with these women. And so that's why they shouldn't, cut off access to him. Hey, Felicity. Hey, Tori. So yeah, she believes she's the preference. She believes that she is because she was his wife, because he married her. Her whole thing was like, oh, he was with you for 13 years, whatever. And he just said it. You have to lie, which is so funny because he just kind of debunked her whole theory about, oh, well, you were telling one the entire truth and you were lying to the other one. No, he just admitted he was lying to you too, because he said you got to lie to the new one to make them think that things are not going right between you and the old one. He just said that. So this whole narrative that she has in her mind about, oh, he was so truthful to me, he told me the truth because he loves me and he was always just truthful about everything, is not true. He was lying to you to get what he wanted out of you, just like he continued to lie to the other one to keep access to that one. So I just felt that was very interesting. Like I said, buy my book. Get the book. Because I talk about all those things inside of the book, and like how to recognize that, how to process that, and how to overcome that type of mindset. Because at the end of the day gotta end. So yeah, let me see what these comments is doing. Oh, everyone's greeting everyone. All right, so now we're going to get into the meat and potatoes of what's going on here, what we have gathered to talk about. I want to watch this one. Hold on. Hold on, y'all. I gotta, I think I'm gonna leave it on mute. I'm sorry, y'all. I seem like I'm floundering, but I'm gonna leave it on mute because I don't want to get the copyright strike. But this lady, I don't know if y'all might remember this. She is a dancer for some kind of sports uh, team, and her fiance came and proposed to her. I'm trying to see if I can make this bigger. Does it matter? I don't think it matters. Her fiance came and proposed to her, and maybe if I just take myself away. Okay, so very cutesy, right? Very sweet. Love it. I remember this. I remember seeing it. Um. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe we could see the YouTube one. Let me see. Let me see. Hold on. Something's going on. I thought that was. Oh, 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 oh. Copy link. Give me a second. This thing is messing up. No, that's not what I want, girl. Leave me alone. Okay, sorry. Sorry. Oh, we keep coming up the same. I thought it was YouTube. Never mind. Never mind. I don't know what's going on. I thought it was a different link. It's the same link. Sorry. So anyway, like I said, this lady got married, or she did get married. She did eventually get married, because this was some years ago. I want to say this was like 2020, 2021. I remember seeing it. So I'm just randomly scrolling and I see this lady. I'm gonna just let you see. I'm gonna just let you see what I saw.
Tiptoe, but I don't hide, but I don't fly. Just what this.
You couldn't hear it? I don't know if it's good. You can't hear it. That's on purpose. That's on purpose. You can't hear it because I don't want to get what's that called, taken off the air because of copyright, because she uses copyrighted music. But the point is, you see what's going on. She's sitting there crying. Now, I didn't know that was her. I just saw, that, and I'm like, okay, what's going on? And then I dig further. Did I dig further or did it come up? I don't remember. It just kind of fell in my lap, to be honest. Let me see.
Let's talk about the early red signs that happen in my relationship.
That's not the right one. I'm trying to find part one, part two. Oh, hey, thank you. Hi, how you doing? I'm doing back and forth, so I'm just kind of seeing who all is coming. I thought I had these in order. Let me see. Is this the first one? Nope, not you. Not you. I'm gonna put these in order. Okay, here it is. So anyway, she was telling that she was gonna do a story time, and so this is part one of her story time. So far, there's only four. Um, there's four different parts. I believe she said there's going to be 10 parts. I just saw the fourth part was put up this morning, or I just saw it this morning. I haven't watched the fourth part. I watched 1 through 3 because those were already up when I first found out about this, and that's when I decided I was going to go ahead and talk about it. But yeah, so we're going to watch this together, and we'll just see. We'll just see what develops, right?
Before he proposed to me in front of billions of people. Let's get started. Okay, so go back to March of 2019. I was living in California, LA area at the time, a little bit outside of LA. And at that point, I lived in LA for about 6 months. It was really, really hard finding genuine connections and friendships that weren't being used as a stepping stand or a stepping ground for you to work yourself up the pyramid. Everyone was using everyone for connections, and it was just really hard to find genuine people. So I told my boss about everything that was going on, who was a pretty cool boss, and he told me about this app called Bumble where his girlfriend met her best friend on. So I was like, okay, cool. So I downloaded the app and realized that the app wasn't just for friendships, it was for networking, dating, and friendships. But out of curiosity, I downloaded the dating profile, which about 48 to 72 hours later, I got matched up with Brandon. While I matched with Brandon, obviously I was speaking to other guys too. And at this point, I already went on about a few, I don't know how many dates, but I was speaking to about 2 or 3 guys at the same time. And then I added Brandon into the mix. These other connections that I made were pretty important to me due to the fact that it just shows that there was no desperation or it was like an impulsive decision at all with Brandon. In LA, a lot of people were really, really into their dating profiles being pretty to the T, with headshots and professional photography done, and just literally their dating profile just looking like an ad, really, like a perfect ad. And I think that one thing that stood out the most about Brandon was that his profile wasn't even like that impressive. It was pretty mediocre, but it was refreshing to see that out of all the other people that I matched with. So we matched, and obviously the women have to make the first move. So I messaged him, and we wound up talking for a few days. And then a couple of days later, he asked me out on a date, specifically for us to go and get sushi together. And I said no. Even though I was already going on dates pretty confidently with other men, I said no to him due to the fact that I was just nervous. And I couldn't really pinpoint why I was nervous. But later on that night, though, I did message him and I said, hey, you know what? Instead of you spending money on me, because I'm not a girl that likes to be, I'm different. I don't like men spending money on me on the first date, especially if we don't know if we like have like a genuine connection. So I said, hey, how about you just pick me up? We go to a park near my house and we just talk. So he picked me up like around 8:30, 9 o'clock because I messaged him pretty late. And then this is where I met him. Got into his car. First thing that I noticed about him was his deep voice. He has literally the deepest voice I have ever heard, and I found it to be quite sexy. And he had such great eye contact, and his vibe gave off, I'm very attentive, but I'm also like pretty chill. So we went to a park that was like not even like 6-7 minutes away from my apartment that I was staying at the time, and we talked for hours at that park. We went on the playground, we went on the swings, we were on the bench, we were walking around the entire park, and it was just nothing but an emotional connection just based off of us communicating with each other. We didn't hold hands, we didn't touch each other, there was no physical whatsoever that happened. So after we went to the park, we got on the connection of me just knowing the fact that me just not knowing anything about LA, not where to go, what places to eat, etc., etc. And at this point, Brandon had been living in LA for, I think, 4 years, something like that. So he knew all the whereabouts, and he drove me around the entire night. And it was pretty nice, so it really was. So as he was driving me around, We were continuing to talk, and he brought up the fact that my Bumble profile stated that I didn't drink any alcohol. I've never had a sip of alcohol in my entire life. And that I've never like smoked or like anything. I don't touch any of that stuff. And then he asked if I was Mormon. And I said yes. I was pretty pleasantly surprised that he knew much about my religion, or that he just connected the two. And it made me feel like pretty seen. But also it was nice to know that if we were to go farther into whatever this is, that me spiritually opening up to him could be a great thing to do. But little did I know that that was going to bite me in the ass sooner or later, or both. But anyways, we connected extremely and deeply on just conversation. Like I said, we did hold hands, we didn't touch each other. There was nothing like that whatsoever throughout the entire night. And I find that to be very, very rare, just in my experience maybe, but it was quite magical, the conversations that we had and just the connections that we were making, and just how informative he was and how attentive he was to me and asking questions. And it wasn't one-sided, it was both of us just going back and forth, and I absolutely love that so much. He wound up picking me up around 8:30. We did not get back to my apartment, or he did not drop me off at my apartment until 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. That's how much we were driving and just talking. And yeah, thinking about it, it really was a special time. But both of us had work the next morning, and we got up pretty early for our shifts for what we were doing for work at the time. And he dropped me off at my gate because my apartment was gated community. And before I got out of the car to say goodbye, he asked if he could kiss me, and I said yes. And it wound up being a very, very passionate and magical kiss, I would say. It was electric. It was pretty electric. And honestly, that night, it felt like love at first sight, but little did I know it was love bombing. But it definitely got my adrenaline pumping to the point where I literally sprinted to my apartment like I was a teenager in love. And yeah, little did I know that that whole night was going to be the start of years and years of heartache.
So I said I was going to come back and talk like after that, because I wanted to, like I said, my contact with her was having seen the big grand gesture of her proposal, and oh, wonderful for her, love that for her, everything like that. Again, this was years and years and years ago. Seeing her come back, that initial video of her, crying like that, it stunned me. This is before I even recognized she was the other person, the one from the proposal. I had an initial visceral reaction to it of kind of like, girl, what is this? Like, you really sat up a camera and posed and started. And I'm not saying, this is not me saying that she is not actually feeling what she's feeling and going through what she's going through. But I'm like, this was your thought to do this? Like, this is what you chose to do? So I kind of was like, some girl, come on type stuff. Then she was talking and she mentioned she was Mormon and this and that. I'm like, okay, the plot thickens. You know what I mean? Like, some things are starting, some math is starting to math. It's the beginning of the equations for me. You know what I mean? So I was watching this. But again, I want to reiterate, this is Vitamin Key. This is Vitamin Key giving you, or Kiana giving you her reactions, her knee-jerk reactions to the stuff that I was seeing. This was a couple days ago. I have not officially level up single mommed this content yet. So please, bear with me, and this is me giving you that disclaimer. So yeah.
I looked in my relationship before my husband proposed to me in front of billions of people on NBA dance court. If you have not watched part 1, I highly suggest you watch part 1 before coming to this video, because this is going to be a 10-part series and it's going to get juicier and juicier as it goes on. Trust me. Okay, so I'm going to give you three freaking stories of how Brandon love bombed me during our relationship. Number 1, take it back to May 2018. I am still dating one of the other guys that I have matched with casually, and it is Memorial Day and I'm spending the day with him. Brandon is blowing up my phone. I don't know why he's blowing up my phone. He's calling me, he's texting me. He's being very, very excessive to where it's such a turn off. And I didn't respond to him. I didn't text him back just because I was focused on the connection that was in front of me. But I later on found out in our relationship, he told me that day that he was blowing up my phone, 1, he wanted to know where I was because he wanted to spend time with me. And 2, he set up this whole, I don't know, thing in his bedroom. He had like those scented sticks or whatever, and crystals out, and he was speaking to his pendant, the pendant that like goes back and forth or whatever. And he asked his pendant if I was going to be the woman that he marries, and the pendant said strongly yes. So from that point on, or at that point, he knew that he was going to marry me. We met in March. This is May, Memorial Day. Some may say that that's just like so stinking cute that like he knew that I was going to be the one that he marries after not even us being exclusive. We made things exclusive in July, and only knowing me for about 2 months. But yeah, I just found that to be weird that he was just blowing up my phone a lot. And some would say that that's obsession and that's like romantic, but no, that's just love bombing, sweetheart. Number two, I was training for the NBA, NFL auditions that my mentor told me that I should go for. I never did any kind of training for them at all. So she told me that I should go to the NBA prep class for the LA Clippers Spirit dance team. Well, I went, had such a blast, fell in love with the girls there. They were so supportive and so amazing. And weeks later, they had their auditions for the team. During those weeks, Brandon and I, we were in his bedroom. I don't know how we got on the subject of it, but I'm originally from New Orleans, and I was just telling him how much I miss New Orleans, just the food and the Southern charm, and that I just want to go back and visit one day. I kid you not even a freaking hour later, he has tickets for us to be going to New Orleans for a week and a half long, a rental car already booked, an Airbnb near Bourbon Street already booked for us to go to New Orleans that following week. And it was after one conversation. It wasn't multiple conversations, one flippin' conversation. Literally a woman's dream come true. You tell a man something just one time, and he's like, all right, bet, and he makes a decision for it. One, you find that extremely sexy. Two, you find that like, oh my gosh, he's just like so supportive and so loving, and he's so affectionate and attentive. No, honey, he's just trying to gain control of you right here, right now. So the week that we were supposed to be leaving for New Orleans is also the same week as the LA Clippers Spirit dance auditions. Well, not to toot my own horn, but I was very, very proud of myself in this moment. My first ever dance audition for an NBA team, and I only went to one prep class. All my other classes was Playground LA, Millennium, just more individuality dance classes, not geared towards being on a team. I made it all the way to finals, and I was so, so proud of myself. The day that I had finals was the day that we were supposed to leave for New Orleans. So what Brandon does is he pushes it back just 24 hours because that day I was going to find out if I was going to make the team or not. Which leads me to number 3. If anyone knows anything about dance auditions, especially finals, you have interviews that day. Also have choreography that you learned in the open auditions, brand new choreography that you learned during the semifinals and the finals. And you are broken up into smaller groups for you to perform it in front of the judges and everyone else that is auditioning. So if you're a dancer or you just know how it is, you know that can take literally all evening. That can go on for hours and hours and hours. And instead of Brandon waiting back in where he was living at the time, which was like 40 minutes outside of LA, he waited down the street at a restaurant, literally a block or two away from where I was auditioning, for hours at a restaurant. Hours. So after the judges did their final evaluation, I wound up not making the team, but I still found it to be such a really, really big accomplishment that my first audition ever, I made it straight to the finals, which was amazing. But obviously I bawled like a baby, and I told him I'm leaving, where I was auditioning, and I literally just see him sprinting freaking down the sidewalk, running up to me, and he just cradles me, and I'm bawling my eyes out. And he comforts me the rest of the freaking night. Comforts me all the way on the drive home, which was like, if you know anything about LA, everything is at least an hour. And yeah, he didn't leave my side for the rest of the evening. And that, ladies and gentlemen, that's what made it pretty official with us. Not even kidding, the next day that we were leaving to go to New Orleans, we made it official. I got off all contact with all the other guys that I was dating, and I became his and he became mine. Now, some of you may be like, okay, well, how are these love bombing? Number one, the first story that I told you, some women, including myself, we tend to think that obsession means romance, and that is not the case at all. Him blowing up my phone was very excessive, but I also thought that it was pretty nice because that just means that he wants me. No, that just means that he wanted to control where I was and what I was doing, and he wanted to know all the information. Second story I gave you. Him wanting to be my ride or die, wanting to be supportive with my dance audition. Or I guess that was the third story. Him wanting to be my ride or die, be supportive of my dance audition. Really, really insert himself into major milestones in my life early on in our relationship. And then third, a big grand gesture to install attachment so quickly to where he can control me later on. And also, if you're doing all of these gestures right now, what makes you think that they'll continue to do them later on? Part 3 coming soon. Let's talk about
That's what it is. Sorry, I was talking the whole time. It's because I was backstage. See, I'm back here trying to be fancy. Anyway, what I was saying was that I've only watched it. I didn't play exactly. This is what I was saying behind the scenes. This is what I was saying behind the scenes because what's interesting to me and what I like about how she's telling her story is that she's telling you what she was thinking along the way. And there were times where she was saying like she looked at it like, this is weird. But I always say I feel bad for the women that are still trying to date because it's like this just sounds like really nice. He was highly motivated. You know what I mean? He had the means to do so. I know, Theme, as you were saying last night, that you want to spoil the person you care about. And you know, like you want to be that person that can do these amazing things to make people feel good and just be there for them and make their life pleasant and everything. And I feel like that's what any person would want in a relationship. So it's really sad that when we're having these, hindsight conversations, it's automatically this thing of like, oh, you should have known by them being so nice to you. You should have automatically knew they were trying to like get you. And it's like, so when are you able to relax in the knowledge that you deserve nice things? You know what I mean? That you deserve to be pampered and you deserve to be cared for and catered to and stuff like that. But also aside from that, what I like about her is that as she is explaining these things, okay, overall, like I said, there are certain things that stood out to me in terms of like this woman is very poised in a particular kind of way, and this is a very like manicured way that she's presenting this, I would imagine, traumatic story. But I'm gonna be real with you as a Black woman. It's the caucasity of it all, really. With her saying, like I was saying before, I felt like some of the math started mathing when she started telling about her background and her being Mormon and stuff. And she was, she has the presence of a white woman. And I think I mean that in the best way one could mean that, because she seems unencumbered by a lot of the kind of like hangups and setbacks and stuff that the Black woman identity carries with. Like it was never giving. I feel like Black women, we're so used to being abused that there is this hardness that comes, and like this expectation of bad treatment. And the way she talks and the way she carries herself, and even the way like she's holding the wine by in the midst of this, it's like so curated that you're either going to love it or you're going to be like, who does she think she is? She wants to be white, this and that and the other. I hope you understand what I'm saying. Like, this is not a critique as much as an observation. And honestly, I feel it. You know what I mean? Like, I love when I see Black women just being completely unburdened by the weight that the world tries to put on to Black women, if that makes sense. So that's where I'm at with it. You know what I mean? But I just thought that was another reason why I was like, this is interesting. I'm going to bring it to my people. I'm going to see, if people see what I see. She said, yes, because I'm a lover. Exactly. Listen, that's absolutely what I want. And this is me being, I'm going to get big for this. This is me being completely transparent, right? One of the reasons that I don't date and stuff is because that's the type of treatment I want. And I am to the point where I'm like, okay, if you're treating me like that, I recognize that I kind of be I gotta be side-eyeing you, right? So for me, I can't even enjoy it. Because I gotta watch y'all because y'all sneaky like that and y'all crazy like that. You get what I'm saying? So that's why I say I feel so bad for the women that are still holding on to hope and wanting to do it and stepping out on faith and having these experiences, because it does hurt. I feel like it hurts more when you have that hope and then your hopes are dashed and you were lied to and betrayed, than just kind of staying in that energy of like, well, I can't trust these people anyway, so it ain't no point. You know what I mean? So I feel for the girlies. I really truly do. But yeah, I want sunshine and lollipops and roses. That's what I want.
Relationship before my husband proposed to me in front of billions of people on an NBA court. I want to put a little disclaimer out there. If you have never been love bombed in a relationship, you would not understand the fact that all of these early red signs float underneath the radar. They're literally just flying through. These are scabs that I'm reopening so they can heal properly, but I would be doing a disservice to you guys, especially to the women that are in my DMs telling me their stories, by not sharing my story with you guys. Number one, we are still casually dating at this point. I am seeing Brandon every other day just because he only lives about 15 minutes away from me. It's on a Sunday, and he came over to watch the new episode of Game of Thrones. I'm not interested, or I wasn't interested in Game of Thrones, but I watched it with him anyways, and we spent some time together after. I looked at the time, realized that it was like past 10. I was like, oh shoot, you should probably leave, because I wanted to go to bed, and he also woke up pretty early. He then responds and he says, oh, well, like, I don't have to leave. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Yes, you do. I'm literally telling you to leave because I'm tired. And then he says, oh, well, like, I don't have to leave. I can stay the night. And I'm like, no, you don't even have clothes. And then he's like, I actually have a packed bag in my car. And I'm like, dude, what the freak? No, absolutely not. This just baffled me. It really, really freaking did, because instead of him just asking me my boundaries, he decided to test my boundaries. And I told him no, and he went home that night. Number two, this was during COVID. California was completely shut down, so we went to Washington to visit some of his family since we had a lot of time on our hands. And during this time, it was very unknown if NFL or NBA auditions were going to happen. But a lot of our mentors, they went on their platforms and they said to just stay ready. So I joined a membership, and this membership provided dance classes and workout classes for me, all scheduled out in advance to where all I had to do was just show up virtually. His family had a big basement downstairs that just had the perfect room for me to do my dance and my workout classes. And also, if we were in California, I'd be doing the exact same thing. During one of my classes, Brandon interrupted me and he said, hey, you should come upstairs and interact with my family instead of being down here by yourself. And I'm like, So, a little background, his mother does not like me. His mother really has never liked me. And this was after many, many times.
I'm just coming in to say, this part really made me feel for her. I was so sad about this part.
Of me trying to make an attempt to have a positive relationship with this woman. So instead of me going upstairs, I respectfully declined, and I used that energy onto myself and onto pursuing my career, hoping that I would be able to manifest and become a professional dancer, instead of me being surrounded by people who don't like me and putting on a show for them and making myself uncomfortable while everyone else is fine. Brandon knew all of the interactions that took place with his mother, like, prior, and the fact that he asked me to just come upstairs and just put on a front for everyone just showed that he didn't care about me being comfortable. He didn't care about my feelings. He was just completely invalidating me as I sat there and I told him, like, no, I don't want to go up there because of X, Y, and Z. So instead of him respecting it, he decided to say, okay, well, now you're making the basement smell really gross because you're sweating, and you're just making the situation with my family worse because you're not even putting forth any effort. When in reality, I was putting forth all the effort, but I was getting nothing, literally nothing in return with these people. So he went back upstairs and he did his job by making me feel bad, for sure. But I just thought that was just so disrespectful and inconsiderate of him to do what he did. Number three, it is Thanksgiving 2019. At this point, I've only met his mom, his brother, and his father. And Thanksgiving is a big thing in their family, or in his family. So I was meeting about 30 plus people that night that his mother was hosting. He literally had his aunts, his uncles, and cousins there, and one of his cousins happened to have the same name as me, Danielle, but she goes by Danny. So to avoid any confusion, his mother, made an announcement in front of all these people that I don't know and said, let's just call Danny, the other Danny, and let's call this Danny, Black Danny. Black Danny. Not only was I so freaking humiliated, I was so hurt, and I was fuming on the inside, because not only was this woman embarrassing me in front of a bunch of strangers, and I couldn't, show how I felt because this was my first time interacting with all these people, but the worst part of it all was that Brandon was there and he didn't do anything about it. It was so embarrassing and humiliating to the point where one of his mother's sister, his aunt, came up to me a little bit later on in the evening and she said, I'm so sorry you experienced what you experienced here. I'm not going to call you that. Which was nice, but again, Brandon didn't do anything. He just let it happen. And number four, same thing, or it's the same night. Everyone is drinking except for me, of course, and his mother recognizes that I'm not drinking anything, and she offers me a glass of wine. I respectfully decline. She jokingly said, what, are you Mormon or something? And I said, actually, I am Mormon. And she looked at me as if I was a freaking cartoon character. All of this is taking place with Brandon being literally right next to me. She continues to not only make fun of my religion, but pressures me into drinking alcohol. At this point, this is the 4th time that she has asked me to have a glass of wine. And finally, Brandon steps in and he says, "No, Mom, she's good. Let her be." After the 4th time, as like somewhat relieved as I was that he like finally like stepped in and said something, the fact that it had to come down to the 4th time for her to just zit and just leave me alone was an issue. And that literally, I kid you not, that started everything from the very, very beginning to, I would say, to the present time of this woman just not liking me and not giving a rat's ass about me whatsoever, because Brandon did not set any boundaries with her, you know, at the very, very early stages of a relationship. He just let this woman do whatever the heck she wanted to me. And he didn't care about how I felt, no matter how many times I freaking addressed it. I felt so, just so invalidated and just so hurt. I wouldn't wish that upon anyone. And the fact that this literally happened years ago and it still hurts, like that just goes to show like how much of an effect it had on me and it still has on me. But hopefully with a lot of therapy, I will heal from it sooner rather than later. Stay tuned for part 4.
Yeah, so that was the last piece that I watched, and that was when I decided I was going to bring it to the platform, because that was just so sad. Like I cannot imagine. I cannot imagine. And people are like, "Oh, she married him." Like, yeah, she did marry him, but that is, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm stunned to silence again. It said it's true that these degenerates know who to attack, because that would have been a scene. Let's make the movie. Right? I'll be that person. Okay? I will be her. I will be her. So now we are coming up to the 4th part. I have not watched this part. I didn't see this part. So we're going to be watching this together. So, and then maybe I'll do it now. I'll see. Let me see something. Yeah, so we're going to watch this part together.
24 hours before the proposal. Let's talk about the most requested topic I got since my husband proposed to me in front of billions of people on an NBA court. The 24 hours before the proposal. So a tiny bit of a backstory. I told Brandon that I wanted to be engaged by my birthday, which is December 14th. Obviously, we got engaged December 20th. I was a little bummed when my birthday came and went, and I still didn't have a ring on my finger, but I had a lot on my plate due to the fact that being an NBA dancer, and especially during the holiday season, there are a lot more NBA games that are happening more frequently throughout the weeks. So December 19th, 2021, to be honest with you, I don't really remember much of that day. It's a Sunday. I know for sure I didn't go to church because I was anxious about the next day, which happened to be game day. But it was a pretty relaxed day from what I can remember. So let's transition into December 20th. The day of December 20th, I was working another job aside from being a professional dancer, and I was working at a place called Telos. So I had very, very early shifts, and my shift started at 7 a.m. So I get to work, and I'm pretty anxious due to the fact that the game is later on that night. And I am front and center for the first time in any of the routines. Most of the time, front and center, that position is meant for the team captain. So the fact that I was a rookie on the team and I was front and center, it was a big deal, at least a big deal for me. My stomach was just crawling. I could not eat anything other than carbs. My anxiety was just up and over the roof. I practiced the routine a dozen times while I was on shift, and once my shift ended, I went home so I can get everything ready with my duffel bag, my uniforms, for me to head over to the arena. Brandon was home. He told me that he wanted to take me to the arena himself. Most of the time he's taking me to the arena, but sometimes we're not going, just depending on the time that the games start. Sometimes they start at 7, sometimes they start at 8, so it would just really depend on what time the game was starting. We were basically getting ready together. I was doing a little bit of light makeup and putting on my practice uniform, because we always practice on the court before the game starts. And he was getting ready as well. The weird clue that I noticed was he was very fixated on what he was wearing and his hair. And this man, he's a blue collar man, so it was like, it just wasn't, it wasn't like him at all to be so fixated on what he's wearing. He asked me what jacket he thought was best for him to wear, and it was between a green puffy jacket or the black leather jacket that I got him for his birthday a few years back. I asked him in return, I was like, why does it matter? And he's like, can you just choose for me, please? Like, I don't know which one to go for. And I'm like, okay, well, go for the black leather one because the puffy jacket adds weight on you. And he's like, okay, cool. So he puts that on, but then I noticed that he's a lot more attentive with his hair. And this man, he has beautiful, luscious locks, but he does not know how to take care of it. He hates doing his hair. But like that night, though, I noticed that he was just very, again, very attentive with his hair. And I'm like, all right, that's odd. Clue number 2 I noticed was while we were doing our practice on the court, the entertainment director came up to us saying, hey, I need a volunteer for someone to come and try on these clothes for me that we may sell at the Utah Jazz store. So he chose me, and my coach was like, okay, like, are you okay? Like, you know the routine, you're good? And I was like, yes, ma'am, I'm solid. So I go up on a different level to try on some clothes. But little did I know, it wasn't for me to freaking try on clothes at all. It was so my team can actually practice the actual routine that they were going to perform that night. But of course, without me. The other clue was I subtly got to pick out the uniform that night. Very, very subtly. Obviously, we have to match our uniforms with what the players are wearing that night, the colors. So it was that the coach and the team captain were having basically an open conversation out and about with a few other teammates and myself being in that, just witnessing that conversation on what we were going to wear that night. I didn't realize that I subtly chose the green uniform that we wore. I found that uniform to be so flattering on every single girl on my team. So yeah, so I'm glad that I got to have like a little bit of a say, whether it was meant to turn out that way or not, but that was another clue that I noticed, but completely overlooked. The next clue, our coach, she lined us up to check our hair and our makeup to make sure everything was good. She's only done that once, so I found it like somewhat a little weird that she did it, but I mean, she was our coach, so it wasn't like abnormal, but just because it doesn't happen consistently, it just happened randomly that night, which wasn't random at all. But yes, so she lined us up to just make sure that our hair and makeup were good. And then the other next clue was that my teammates were literally disappearing randomly. I would be sitting on the floor in the bathroom doing my hair, and I would look and there's no one near me. I think there was about like 27 of us on the team that season, and there was only 3 people in the locker room with me at that time that I noticed that people were gone. Little did I know, though, they were practicing their routine away in the cave, or near the cave of the mascot. It's just so funny. It's so funny the fact that like they just disappeared and I didn't think anything of it as if it was normal, because it most certainly was not. And then the last clue that I completely overlooked was the fact that our coach, she told us beforehand that there was a lot more cameras that night that was going to be on and near the court. So just don't pay any mind to them. Just do what you got to do. I didn't think anything of it because, again, I was just nervous. I just wanted to make sure that I got the routine down and I wasn't going to let her down and let anyone else down, and just trying to be confident in my ability. But little did I know, there was a lot more cameras because it was literally being live broadcasted, which is insane to think about. And then the rest, you guys freaking saw. You literally saw. I was completely shocked of how it happened and how my teammates and my coach and Brandon were able to pull it off and also keep it for me for as long as they did. Brandon, he asked me beforehand if I wanted to get proposed to publicly or privately, and I told him it didn't matter. I just wanted him to follow the 5 rules that were important to me. So make sure my nails are done, make sure my outfit is on point, which my team did, say my full name, get down on one knee, and then also ask my mother for her blessing. And he did all 5 of those. So that is what happened leading up into the 24 hours of the proposal. Just wait until I tell you the 24 hours after the proposal. A lot of you guys think that he was trying to steal my shine. Brandon had his own spotlight and I had mine. There was no shine that was being stolen whatsoever, because there's a lot more doors that opened up for me after the proposal went viral. And I will post that very soon.
Okay, so that's all there is to the story at this point. Yeah, I just thought that was interesting. There was a lot of stuff there. Um, she said, I don't think so. She see the funny, and that goes back to what I was talking about when it came to like my initial assessment of her and like watching her and listening to her and stuff like that. I really think it's just that she does not have that stereotypical quote unquote black girl aura, in that she does not seem encumbered by those kind of Tyler Perry-esque sorrows that black women are expected to have inherently. You know what I mean? Like, she just seems like someone who just was living her life as a woman, as a eligible woman, you know, and just wanted love and wasn't looking over her shoulder. You know what I mean? Like, she just didn't have, I don't want to say she was naive, but I guess it is kind of like a naivete. But that's the way you're supposed to be, because you're not supposed to be carrying drama. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's someone who, she wasn't walking around like someone who carried trauma. She wasn't walking around like someone who was expecting people to take advantage of her in that particular way. And so I just kind of was like, that I see that as interesting. Now, there are things about it that made me feel like, oh, you know, she might be a little bit of a drama queen or whatever like that. But I mean, in this day and age, it is what it is, you know. And I think that was also savviness on her part of like going, hey, I know that people are able to monetize and like make lemonade out of lemons when it comes to things like this happening to them. So I'm just going to lean all the way into it. I'm going to set up my camera and lean over ever so demurely and cry to this perfect song. And you know what I mean? And draw people in. And hey, it got me. She got me. So I can't even be mad at her about that. It says she had no skepticism. I heard her say things where she was kind of like, that's interesting or whatever like that. But like I said, when you're in that position of wanting to date and stuff, depending on what it is, like, so the thing Themis was talking about last night where the person was clearly uninterested, that's one thing. But when somebody's like, oh no, I'm invested in here, I put my money where my mouth is, and I'm into you, and I'm paying attention to you, and I'm taking you, and I'm showing up for you, and you know, whatever, my heart is okay. My heart is fine. You know, yeah, I got a good heart, but it's got a little crust on it, and that's fine, and I'm okay with that. You know, like, I am fine with that. Except from Jump, it's a hell no. Let me see. You don't have to be traumatized to use your God-given mind. Yeah, but I mean, it's all about perspective. Let's put it this way. I say to people all the time, I don't date. The reason I don't date, because I want to be able to be Delulu. I want to be able to go out and expect something good to happen. And then when something good happens, I don't want to be sitting back like, wait a minute, this is too good. To me, that's a waste of fucking time and energy. So when I see, there's a point where when I see people who are expecting good things and having good things happen to them, because it's one thing if something bad is happening to you and you are lying to yourself in a way to keep yourself invested in what's going on that's bad so that you can get to the good. That's where it's kind of like, okay, girl, okay, now what are we doing, right? But when you are wanting something good to happen and it appears that those good things are happening, why does that make you stupid for being happy and enjoying the good things that are happening? You get what I'm saying? So like it's tricky in a way that I don't feel like it. He said not a crust. It's just a crust. It's not to the core. You know what I mean? It says you want to be able to love with your arm. Exactly. Because if I can't do that, then I might as well not do it. I don't want to do it. These weird in betweens where people are, where they're just like, oh, I'm too smart to be got, but it's just a bunch of. It really feels adversarial the way you're interacting with people, and these are people you're laying down with, and but you always got to keep one eye open, and you got to stay 10 steps ahead. Like that's crazy to me. That made my chest tighten up just thinking about it. And people are treating that like that is more normal than someone saying, hey, I want something good to be happening. Oh, wow, something good is happening for me. Yay, I'm going to enjoy it. Like, that's not abnormal. To me, that's the most normal thing. It's just upsetting that we live in a world where somebody will be dragged for engaging in that way. So my thing is, if I'm not supposed to enjoy it, then I'm just not going to do it. That's where I'm at with it. It says, even God tells you to test his spirit. I'm testing every body, period. This is my thing. It's not that I'm saying that like you shouldn't have. We were talking about it last night on Themis' live. It's not that I'm saying you shouldn't see red flags. And that's why I said I like the way she was telling the story, because she's telling you stuff that she saw that she was kind of like, but she literally put a pin in it. It's like, so it's not about being blind to things, because that's what I mean about people that are actively going through some kind of stress or strife and they're being blind. They're blinding themselves to what is actually going on and explaining it away and rational, like Amina was. You know what I mean? That's the type of person that I'm just like, okay, you're a menace to yourself and others. You know what I mean? But when it's someone that's just like, look, I want love, and so I'm willing to put myself out there to get love, because that's what you have to do. You have to be vulnerable. And then when I see something that's weird, but I can't necessarily say for certain it's a bad thing, I'm just going to make a note of it, but I'm still going to keep operating under the assumption that I'm going to get what I want. That's the way you have to be. And it's not an exact science. That was what I was saying in like my last life. It's not an exact science. There's no black or white, win or lose thing. Stuff is going to happen. There's going to be ups and downs. And this is not me saying stay again in an abusive situation, but I'm talking about if you're unsure about something, but you're really truly unsure about it, you can just put a pin in that feeling, but don't dismiss that feeling. And then when the time comes, it'll make sense, and then you can move on that information you have. She said Black Danny going to I believe Black Danny is going to be great, because like I said, she's already, because her mind seems to be clear enough, like I said, so that when the information became overwhelming, not even overwhelming, but when she got enough data for her to say, okay, I can make a definitive decision that this is for me. I can make a definitive decision that I'm not safe in. She got out and immediately put into action a plan of capital. I'm going to capitalize. I'm going to get everything positive I can get out of this situation. I'm going to go ahead and tell my story. I'm going to get whatever I can get, because again, she saw the benefit of when he was in the driver's seat and he kind of put a spotlight on them. She said she got opportunities out of that. So she's like, hey, we're in an economy, an intention economy. I got a story to tell. If they love that, they're going to love this. And she positioned herself. Because I used to I teach how to self-actualize. No, it was something about being savvy, using your life lessons to be savvy. And I feel like that's what she's doing. So I applaud her. She ain't sitting there asking that man, oh, what if you love two women but you told one woman the truth? You know, like it says you shouldn't ask when you see something weird. No, nobody said not to ask. But I'm saying you either is it Uchiwali or one mic is what I'm saying. Because if you want to be in a relationship with somebody, and you're saying, "Oh, I don't trust this person." Why the fuck are you dating them? Why are you having sex with them? You get what I'm saying? And I'm saying that that's why I don't engage with it, because I understand that I'm in a place where I do not trust these men in a general sense. So why the fuck would I be going out and trying to get closer to any one of them if I generally don't feel they're trustworthy or worth it? And so what I'm saying is that if you're still in a space where you thinking you want to have a man in your life for whatever reason, it makes more sense for you to believe there's something in them to trust and operate off of that belief than to be going around saying, I don't trust these men. I'm on these dating apps. That's crazy to me. That's crazy because what you want with a liar? What can you do for each other? It says, you don't stand a chance once you've been marked. Yeah. And like I said, people go in with this false sense of security because they're being so, hard. But again, still engaging with them puts a target on you. You're still susceptible. Unless you're not going to deal with them at all, you're still susceptible. As long as you're going to engage with them on any level, you can think you're as smart as they come, but you're still opening yourself up to bullshit. It says, to me, sticking a pin in it means holding off on a baby, holding off on a marriage. She did neither. I mean, yeah, but this is my thing. If let's say I'm out here and I'm still thinking I'm going to be, I could have a relationship with a man. To me, even going on a dating site, even thinking, not even going on a dating site yet, even thinking that it's a possibility that I can get married means that I'm open to the point of trusting someone, trusting a man. That makes you susceptible. Thinking that it's possible to trust a man under any circumstances is a degree. Let's say that's about 10 to 15% higher degree of you getting had, right? So then from there, you going onto a dating site. A lot of people on these dating sites are playing a role and they're just swiping and they're just trying to do whatever they can do to get access to a woman. They're not really engaging in a real way. A majority of these men. So that bumps it up to anywhere from like 25 to 30% of a chance of you getting had. Then from there, okay, you meet somebody, you like him, you start dating, or you start getting on the phone, you're talking on the phone so they can get in your ear and tell you things that, make you feel like you might want to date them. Okay, now we're up to about 35, 40%. So you get what I'm saying? Every step closer you take to the point up to and including having sex with them, getting married to them, all of that stuff increases your chances of having an adverse experience with these men. So thinking that you are smarter than the average bear, if you're still dealing with a man, I feel like you're just fooling yourself. Unless you're just sitting there like, yeah, I'm not going to deal with none of these men because they got trickery afoot, then that's something different. But if you're going to engage with a man, and if you, I'm messing with a man and I do this and we have to wear condoms, okay, people poke holes in condoms. Oh, well, I'm using birth control, this and that and the other. Okay, well, people can still carry STDs and disperse STDs in ways that aren't just regular sex, because ain't nobody out here just having missionary sex with a condom on, wrapped up in a bed sheet. You get what I'm saying? There's all kinds of ways that the only true protection is not dealing with these men. And unless that's what you're doing, you really can't judge the next woman but so much, is what I'm saying. That's kind of sad. It says, I agree. No one is bulletproof, but you're caping for this lady vitamin. She had signs. Everybody had signs. That's what I'm not saying she didn't. I'm saying everybody had signs. Just because your man, and I'm not saying you have a man, I don't know if you have a man or not, but just because your situation worked out, you were lucky. But don't try to act like it wasn't due partially to luck. These men are treacherous. Every bit of leeway you give a man in terms of having some kind of access to you, more and more access to you, you are taking a risk. There are women who did everything quote unquote right and still were given HIV, and AIDS. That's a conversation that's being had on Twitter right now. That idea that you can just be, what did I say? Miss Goodpuss, that if you were just her, nothing will ever happen to you. That's how people get got. That's what I was talking about in my last live, when I was showing how Toya had been so unkind to K Michelle, when K Michelle was telling her about her experience with that man that she happened to be married to at the time. And then and everybody was saying, "Oh, he would never do that. You lying." Da, 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 da. And then he showed himself. I said, even myself, I am the woman who can say that this one particular man never hit me, but he hit everybody before and after me. But that don't mean I'm walking around saying, "Oh yeah, because I got it like that." No, I look at the factors, and the factors were he didn't know what would happen to him. The other women were women that he felt like he could go ahead and slap them around and nothing would happen to them. So he was willing to roll the dice with them. But for me, the same way I was explaining breaking down the probability of how much the increase of the chances of you getting hurt, the closer and closer you let men get to you. When he did the math about whether or not he felt like he could hit me and get away with it, it didn't come up in his favor. So he just didn't. That's the conclusion I came to. But a lot of women will sit and just say, "Oh yeah, I was just too much woman. He respected me too much of this and that and the other." That same little dumb game that Amina was trying to play. With saying, "Oh yeah, well, you told me the truth, so you love me more, and you married me, so you love me more." No, it's bullshit. And he sat right in her face. I'm talking about Peter Gunn sat right in her face and told her, "No, actually, I told you the lies that you needed to hear from your vantage point, and I told her the lies that she needed to hear from her vantage point, so that I could get what I wanted from both of y'all in both of y'all separate positions." And that's really all it is. Watching me. Welcome. It says, "I love your name. Teach this single mom how to love her." Oh, thank you. Listen, I don't know everything, but I will tell you what I know. It says she wanted her happy ending, Duffy. And why shouldn't you? That's my thing. Like, if I'm not allowed to want a happy ending, why the fuck do I even want to start the story? Hello? It said, but she did give me exactly. Like she did the whole bit. What do you want? Like, what do you want from people? And my thing is, if you expect me, she said, "Who is Miss Goodpuss?" Miss Goodpuss is the woman who just thinks she's just such a lady. She's such a woman that nothing bad ever happens to her. Men never do anything bad to her and would never do anything bad to her because she's just so feminine. That's Miss Goodpuss. It says it's easier to see the signs when you aren't in the situation. And it's easier to see the signs when it's like you're not talking about something you want specifically. Like any of us, if we want something and it looks like we're about to get it, most of us are not going to back off when we can see it right there. And we just have to take a few more steps further. Most of the time, I think 9 times out of 10, the person is going to take the steps forward to actually put their hands on the thing that they want because they can see it. It's right there. It's I agree, Vitamin. It's all luck for these relationships. That's what I think. It's a look at Cardi, that wop ain't whopping. Yeah, like it doesn't. We put all this, and that's something I talk about in my book, is like putting this idea of the bond, right? We feel like, oh, because of who we are, by virtue of who we are, how feminine we are, how well we perform femininity. We're cooking, we're cleaning, we're so respectful, we're so demure. The lady recently came up and was like, "Oh yes, I have a high value man, and I don't even let the waiting staff talk to me. I don't look anyone in their eye. When I'm with him, I'm just quiet like a damn doll. And he just does everything because I'm so submissive." Like, it's all those types of things. And you think that you can perform your way into be respected, when in reality, you should just be respected because you're a human being. And so his parents were racist to her at a party and he didn't defend her. That shows he really doesn't care about her. That was before the proposal. Again, this is not me saying no. I'm not like arguing against that. But what I'm saying is, this is also someone that she gave you a bunch of other stuff that he did before then that was affirming to her, that was, made her feel safe, made her feel like he wanted her. And so she can, and this is my thing, because like I had a situation in my family where I don't talk to my mother anymore, right? And a lot of people think that I don't talk to my mother anymore because by nature of the problem that happened, that I was wanting her to break up with her husband of, 2 decades for my benefit. That's not what I wanted. my expectation was not that, oh, she had to choose between me and that person. My expectation was like, how is it that you could have found a way to honor yourself, which means your desires, and you obviously wanting your husband and being with your husband, but also acknowledge and honor me and my position, and be a safe space for me as well. And I don't necessarily know what that would have looked like, but it was more so about seeing the wheels turning in your mind of trying to figure out how to do it, and then I could come in and try to help. You get what I'm saying? And so I'm saying that to say that I feel like for us, outside of her situation, we're feeling like, oh, she should have just cut it off. But I'm saying, like, it's easy for us to say it outside because we're not emotionally invested, and maybe it wasn't necessarily that she wanted him to cuss his mom out or whatever like that. Like, for her, she could understand more the difficulty for him, being that that's his family, and it sounds like they were living there or whatever it is. Like, I can understand her having more leeway in it. This is, again, I think this is coming from that win-lose mindset of like, oh, you either win or you lose. And it's not. It's a gray area. Like, these are relationships. Relationships have to be worked on. Stuff has to be negotiated. It says, I'm sorry, but the wives that are fun or down for whatever got the same results. Yeah. Men, I just want people happy and to be kind to each other. Stop making love this hard. The math is not mathing for his abuse. I mean, abuse never makes sense. I've never heard of a situation where I was like, oh, yeah, it makes sense why that person was abusing that other person. I've never felt that way. It said, she did want a happy ending. I can't even fault her. Yeah. It says, you can have such a self-respect for, I don't know if you were coming to put something else on the end of that. Hold on, I'm trying to catch up with what y'all saying. It says, I wish she had left and never went back. That him showing up with his overnight backpack unannounced, absolutely not. Yeah, that was wild. Like, how you, but can I say this too? Again, that is why I personally do not date, because the last person I dealt with, there were a couple times where he did things that were just off the wall like that were just like very assumptive in a particular kind of way. And it's just like, how do we even get there? I was telling a story about me and him had already been dating and having sex and this and that and the other. And I had told him something when we first started dating, that, mind you, I knew him for like 10 years, and we had dated, like, we would have a date every couple years. We would go on one date. And then finally, at this one particular point, I was like, no, I like him. I'm feeling the vibes or whatever. I'm willing to like date him. And so we started dealing with each other, or we had sex a few times or whatever. And he brought up a conversation he was having with another person, that, because we had met at working together. A conversation he was having with another woman that we had worked with when we worked together, about a threesome. And he's telling the story, fancy free. And I'm just like, how did this even come up? And I'm asking him pointed questions, because I'm like, oh, okay, so you're being assumptive and trying to set this situation up. It's never going to happen. You get what I'm saying? But I'm saying that I'm at a point now where I recognize that to deal with a man is to deal with those weird instances where they may make assumptions that are weird. And the thing for any woman dealing with a man is, you basically have to figure out, we've seen it time and time again, there's no perfect man that's not going to do something like that. They may be able to grow to learn not to do that, but initially, if you start dealing with a man, he's going to do some weird shit. And so for women who actually want to be partnered, they are going to put up with that shit, and at least attempt to teach them how to not do that. And some women are able to do that, but me, I do not have the patience. I'm not teaching you. So that is, again, why I do not partake in trying to date men. You know what I mean? Everybody's not going to do that. It says, you can have such respect that I'll leave you single for a long time, but eventually you do get options that don't test your boundaries like this. Perhaps. But everything I've seen, it was always something. Everything I seen outside of me and the stuff I experienced. So I just hung it up. But those went like to sit. I just feel like we put ourselves in a space where it makes us more vulnerable. What was it I said? Let me try to find. I said something the other day. or one of the last couple lives of mine. I'm trying to find it. Hold on, I'm trying to find what I was saying. Oh, I said you have to be open to being wrong, to having made a mistake or a misstep sometimes, because you can't correct a mistake you don't believe yourself capable of making. So when we get into this mindset of like, oh, well, this is only happening to this other woman because she made the wrong decision, the implied message there is that you could never make that wrong decision or any wrong decision to have an adverse experience. And so that's what I'm saying. Like it's not really safe to be judgmental in that same way about someone who is, to me, I feel like she did her best. Me saying I feel like she did her best that she could do in that situation does not mean that I'm saying she did everything perfectly. And that's where I feel like the disconnect is. And so now the question for me is like, okay, she wasn't perfect. Why are we coming down on her for not being perfect? Now, that's not the same thing as saying someone, like I said, that's why I keep comparing her to Amina. When it comes to Amina is took stock in a shitty situation from the beginning, because and it was overtly shitty because that you knew that man was lying to his other baby mom. You knew that man was lying to Tyra. And you felt like because he wasn't lying to you, that made you different and this wouldn't happen to you. You get what I'm saying? So it's more so about like let's tend to our own stuff first. And it's not about perfection. It's just about being mindful, about mindfulness, and not about mastery. I think that this idea as women that we feel like, oh, we can, they can never, and when you trying to master and maneuver the energy. The same thing is like when we talk about men always trying to control and always worrying about someone submitting to the it's the same type of trying to be the puppet master in a way. Time and energy and just kind of experiencing your life and enjoying your life. And yeah, things will happen and you'll have adverse stuff happen, but it's not about never having it bad happen to you. It's about how you are able to, maneuver it and move on. It's a Peter look like a Halloween. It's no different. I suspect Peter, because I remember, Lord, this is so embarrassing. I remember when they were still they were going baby for baby with him. And so they were both kind of like, oh, he with me right now type of thing, ha, 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 towards each other. I'm talking about Amina and Tyra. And one time, I think it was Amina, he was asleep, Peter was asleep, and she took this picture of them like lying together, but you could see the print of his penis um in his shorts or whatever, and she was like basically bragging on it, like, oh yeah, it's that good type of. It was a penis, like. But I think it's more so, like I said, about those stories that they were telling. For Tyra, I truly feel like she just was like, I put 13 years into this nigga, because mind you, I believe he had cheated with her on his baby mom before her too. So it was more of a pride and ego thing, I feel like. And when your pride and ego is wrapped up in a man, that's when you'll see women. It's just like, I'm not coming up off him. Same thing with, what's her name, the one that was graced to stay with her husband, Kelly Steele. It's a pride and ego thing. It's just like, who am I if I don't win this man? If I don't come out on top, then who am I? She said, exactly. I'm 30 now. I've made her choice before, but I also heard stories way before my own. We've all been in this position. Yeah, it's like there is no way to 100% avoid something like this if you are going to deal with a man. Point blank and period. And I think that's the main thing that people need to understand when you're having these conversations. Everybody think they got the cheat code. No, honey. And that's why you see so many people coming back. Like Kilo said last night, we're going to wait for the 10 part. Who did I marry? Who did I have a baby with? Serious. That's why we all have these these stories. Yeah, and I believe that I agree too, Sally Joe. No wood is that good. And when I got that realization, again, it made it so much easier to just decline. It's that they use that man to fight each other. Yeah. She said winning a man is hilarious. It's actually sad. It's so sad. Hey Sam Marie. Let me see. She said he doesn't even have to put shoes on the feet. I saw somebody called him Dirty Feet Pete. I remember they was saying that. The older ladies need to start having the conversations with the young ones. Yeah, well, not just that. I think the conversations need to start evolving and changing because again, the conversations typically are about how you can win. Now, I will say a lot of older women are just like, hey, leave these men alone because they already know it's a trick bag. But these women that are selling these courses about, oh, yeah, you can learn how to use a man and maneuver a man and this and that and the other. Those are the ones that are setting women up for failure because you saw what happened with that girl, the one, what she call herself, the new trophy wife, where she thought she was pulling a Shira 7 special. And now she turns out she believes that the man was touching a baby. So it's just like I don't know. Right? All I know is that we need to be starting to be more mindful and like present with ourselves as opposed to trying to figure out how to play these games and win these play these stupid games and win these stupid prizes with these men. But if you do want to have the experience of being with a man, go for it, right? But like I said, just know that you are rolling the dice. And that not going in with that knowledge of that you are rolling the dice. There's no way there's never a way that you can go in that you have any kind of guarantees. So just know, dealing with a man, choosing to deal with a man, choosing to partner with a man, choosing to have kids with a man, choosing to get married to a man, all of that stuff is risky behavior. And so therefore, when you start seeing the signs of those risks kind of coming into play, you can back out then, as opposed to being so invested to a point where you just can't believe and or accept once you see it that it's time to cut your losses and get up from the table. Kids being used and abused. Yeah, like these conversations have to evolve, like, because I feel like we're having a tribalism happening with women where it's just like either you are the prissy, Miss Goodpuss, who feels like you're going to get a man and you're going to make him behave the way you want them to behave, or you are the warrior queen who is going to take them and leave them and use them and run them to the ground or whatever, and those people are still getting got in some kind of way. And or you're somebody like me who's just like, yeah, I'm not going to deal with them at all, but y'all have fun type of thing. But there's still this air amongst all of them that like, oh, you're beneath me because you don't do things the way I do things. No, these are just, we're all making choices, right? We're all wanting what we want, and we need to learn how to be okay with what we want. And we also need to learn how to be okay with the stuff that other people want too. And find ways to still have sisterhood because we all need each other at some point. What's that girl name? Kaya, Cooking with Kaya. You see how she was engaging in tribalism with aligning with the men and taunting the women, but then she needed the women. And now she's sitting there sad and lonely because she needs the kind of sisterhood. We have to start being mindful, not just about what we want in the moment, but like what we need holistically. It said there's definitely an esoteric side to this. The original matriarchy fell because women valued the wood too much and fought each other for men, manipulated the men to fight each other. Yeah. She said, every time you say good puss, another angel is born, period. It said good puss, wop, good, that fire kept nary a man. It never keeps them in. It said those burning debts saying a man gonna do what he want to do and what you won't do someone else do. Like, yeah, like we keep having these conversations about these centering men. Do you know what these centering men looks like? It looks like us no longer judging each other for the outcomes of having dealt with men. That's a big major part, because once that lowers the stakes so much that all these other infighting and conversations and oh I'm better than you, oh you better than me, oh you need to get like me, all that goes away because it's just like, hey girl, I get it. You wanted to be happy, you wanted the fairy tale, you wanted, well at least you got your baby. Come on, bring the baby over. You want something to eat? Let the baby jump in the pool and play in the sprinkler. You get what I'm saying? Like it could all be so simple. It said, I'm gonna take your man with a plate of food, girl. It said, did the matriarchal sisterhood ever really exist? I don't know, but I have a vision for it. You know what I mean? Like I have a vision for it, and that's why these are the conversations that I feel like are moving towards that. That's how I want it to be around me. Like I want, if you got a man, I got friends here that are married. You know what I mean? I got friends here that were never married. I got friends here that are LGBTQIA. You know what I mean? It's like we can all sit around each other and be comfortable and rally around each other when we need it and everything like that, and it's no big deal. That's what I want. That's how I want to be. It says, I feel so bad for women who are still male centered. Like, girl, do you not see the manipulation? Do you not see the game? We can do so much better, especially if women lift each other. And that's what I'm saying. Like, when I'm watching this woman's story, and mind you, now I will say, and I was planning on, I guess I got to hurry up and do that too before I get uninterested. I was planning on doing a lot about the girl Huda from Love is Blind, because there is an interesting thing going on with her where there's people that's just like, oh, she is the bane of the house and she is the whole problem in the house and and then other people are like, no, it's not her, it's Jeremiah. And I feel like I'm somewhere in between, because even though Jeremiah is a piece of shit and he was playing games with her and he was, doing the nigga thing, at the same time when it comes to Huda, she to me is given very much on that same Amina energy of like she was being Delulu from the beginning. Like, even coming to a show like this, you should not have had the expectation that you were going to meet one person and y'all was going to stay together for the whole time. Like, I'm not going to get into that right now, but I'm saying, like, so there are conversations, there are nuanced conversations, and it's not always I'm never on the side of men, but there are times when women are playing themselves, and I don't feel like it's a conducive conversation to sit and just harp on the bad that the man is doing without pointing out the silliness that the woman is participating in. You get what I'm saying? And there are some people that is like, oh, you can't talk at all about, oh God, I don't like I don't like saying this because this is reminding me of other people that I heard talking, but my energy about it is different, I'll just say, and hopefully, my track record shows that. But it's like sometimes women do some weird things. You know what I mean? Sometimes women do some weird things. Sometimes women can be hurtful. That's why we had that conversation about, women bullying other women and stuff. This is where we can have those kind of conversations. But again, we cannot conversations here and have people know that they are safe to have those conversations here. You don't have that foundational understanding of respecting people's choices. And not even just respecting people's choices, but respecting the underlying desires that are driving people's choices and not like othering them. You know what I mean? I don't know. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We're finished here. That's all I have for you today. And just something a little something light, a little something light, But I want to thank you all for coming. Thank you much all for showing up again. Here is the book. It's the paperback version. And then there is the ebook here. And also just donate what would have been super chats or whatever, buy me coffee type thing or whatever. This is my Cash App. So, but we're doing pretty good. We're moving so fast. So within like a week, I'm up about 10 to 15 subs. That's so awesome. I said like my goal for the summer is by the end of the summer, maybe by my birthday. My birthday is August 10th. So maybe by my birthday, that's just a month. No, I'm gonna say by the end of the summer. So by September, that I will have 1,000 subs here on YouTube. So we'll see, but things are going pretty easy. Like I said, it's really up to me of being consistent about making content for people to find me and want to be there. So, oh, good. I'm glad. I thought it was just some little throwaway stuff. It got deeper once I started talking. It got deeper than I thought it was even going to get. So that's cool. So I will see you guys later. I think Petty's going live later today. Yes, stay consistent. And so I'm working on it. I'm working on it. I think I have what's that dopamine overload or whatever it's called. I'm so serious. I might have a live about that. But yeah, I will see you guys, and that's it. Do I want to do the? Oh yeah, I do. I want to do the outro, baby, because we're classy here. This is a classy establishment. We're gonna do things. We're gonna do things by the book.